The Beagle Alliance values collaborations and community in the mission to make a difference for all animals. Let's give a round of applause for Lori.
Hi guys, can you hear me? Are we good? Okay. I too am going to stand here unlike Brittany. And I am also not 20 weeks pregnant or any kind of pregnant at all. I am, though, Lori Cohen, the founder and executive director of the Beagle Alliance, whose mission is to place former research animals into loving homes. We also advocate for animal-free science, and we are building a community alongside Kindness Ranch and Chelsey from Canine, that believes that these animals can go from lab to love. So John and Katie say labs to labs, we say lab to love, we're all doing the same thing. So for those of you who are American here, we are based in the center of the universe, just outside of Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, which is 3.5 hours north drive from Fargo, North Dakota. Just so you guys know. We're going to do a little bit of Canadian education here tonight. Hope you're up for it. So, just a disclaimer. It is fundamentally in the DNA of every Canadian that we think we're nicer than y'all. We think we're politer and kinder and just overall nicer. And I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying we like to believe it. But when it comes to animal protections and animal welfare, we are so behind. It's sad. So, in 2023, can you hear me? In 2020, oh, I gotta stay within this thing. Okay, in 2023, Canada used the most dogs ever, doubling that of the European Union. And in 2024, which was the latest statistic, we used 500,000, 500,000 more animals than the year before, if that's not unbelievable. Almost 10,000 dogs, 5,000 cats, and almost a total of 4 million animals, which for a country is quite a lot considering that our entire population fits in the state of California. Sad. I'm a California girl also, alongside Brittany, my family's from California. Born and raised in Canada, but still a California girl. So let's look at the differences between Canada and the US. There is no federal legislation protecting animals in research in Canada. We have one regulatory body that's voluntary only, which means that if you are a private laboratory in Canada, you need not report to them. So the numbers that we just saw are dramatically lower than what is actually. Because if you don't need government funding for a laboratory in Canada, then you don't need to report to the CCAC, the Canadian Council on Animal Care, and therefore nobody knows what you're doing. There's no transparency. We have no idea what animals are in what labs and what's being tested on them, and it's all legal. The Canadian Council on Animal Care, the regulatory body, only suggests that rehoming happens. It's a suggestion. Nobody's bound by law to release the animals. It's a secretive world, and nobody talks about it. I'm probably not moving slides. I better pay attention. This is the reason why we started. This is my boy Trouble. That's why we say good trouble in Canada, because we're causing good trouble in Canada. He walked into my life as a little beagle that I had no idea. Honestly, you guys, I thought the girls who had beagles, I thought they were pocket dogs that the California people walked around with in their purses. I had no idea how brilliant they were, that they were little tricksters. And he walked into my life, and that's when I found out that beagles were the most used breed of dog in animal testing. In 2021, we became a charity, which is no small feat in Canada. It's a huge process. And in 2022, we started the Beagle Alliance with the belief that it was the collective love for dogs that would spark change for animals in research in the country and around the world. And that collaboration was the way to save lives and make change. So while we advocate for the release of animals from testing facilities in Canada, because of our partnership with Kindness Ranch, we're able to place animals from research into homes in Canada and spread awareness. So as most of you know, over 4,000 beagles were released from the Beagle breeding facility in 2022. And we all know how instrumental John and Kindness Ranch was in that release. It was incredible. And that's about the time John and I met officially. I knew who he was. That's a story I'm not going to get into. You're welcome. He graciously agreed to do one of our virtual town halls. And we were just starting out, and sort of off the cuff, we said, hey, we'll help you with some of the dogs. I never thought he would call me again. And a few months later, we were off and running. And truly, it was an opportunity of a lifetime for the Beagle Alliance. It sparked a partnership and so many unbelievable friendships. So while we advocate for animals to be released, of course, Kindness Ranch offers us a chance to work with them and to save so many lives. So this year, a Canadian facility in London, Ontario, was exposed for the harm that they caused towards dogs in research, and it set off a stream of protesters and politicians and media and outright public outrage. And it was primarily because nobody in Canada knows that animal testing happens. And again, I'm going to go back to the fact that we actually think we're super nice. And it's just the people were shocked that we were testing on animals, let alone the very dogs that live in our hearts and our homes. And the Beagle Alliance was blessed to be named an expert in Canada for rehoming. And I believe that that was because of the years of our work with Kindness Ranch. I know it is. St. Joseph's Hospital did not end up releasing the dogs to us, and instead stated that they released the dogs to an anonymous organization. And they were okay to do that. And needless to say, unlike the Envigo release, there were no laws supporting the release of these dogs. There was no laws in Canada that bound this organization to rehome the dogs. And we have no idea where these dogs are. And that's all legal under Canadian law. In the meantime, the Beagle Alliance took the stance and refused to be a part of the shaming. We refused to be a part of the protests. And because of that, our efforts were questioned. But it strengthened our position, actually, that everyone has a role in this world. All of you have a role. We all have a role in saving the lives of these animals. There has to be good and bad cops. Thank you, Justin. There has to be people who hold others accountable. There has to be. But at the end of the day, the laboratories still need to work with people who are not standing in judgment, but are standing in relationship. And that's the foundation of the Kindness Ranch and Beagle Alliance partnership. And of course, alongside Chelsey and Tony and Command Canine and Keeper and Kin, I'm just going to tell you all we're unstoppable. So let's look at the numbers. These are the dogs. These are every dog that we've rescued. Well, let me blow your mind a little bit more on that. Because after this weekend, we will have placed 140 dogs from research into loving homes. So no, don't clap it up. 75% of those dogs come from Kindness Ranch. So in December of 2024, John and I are talking about what the next year looks like. I was probably drinking wine. And we decided that we would place 50 dogs together, which is large. We're a foster-based organization, so unless we have fosters, we can't do what we do. So we decided that we would, I don't even know how we decided we would hit 50. I think John probably hit me up with 60. I'm pretty sure he did. But we landed on 50. And I have no idea how, but I just remember waking up the next day with severe anxiety. And, but here we are, one beagle at a time. And on 2 a.m. on Tuesday, and I want to do a shout out here, on 2 a.m. on Tuesday, Brenda and I will take the 10 that will be the 50 beagles that will now become Canadian citizens. And the shout out is to Brenda, who can't stand up because she's videoing me. Because Brenda and I worked in corrections for a decade, and she retired and said, oh, I really want to travel after retirement.
Got it.
And I don't think she realized that we'd be carrying 10 dogs 15 hours a day across the United States and Canada, and that would be her retirement. So, yay, Brenda. And then, of course, there was 3. Because this year we partnered along with Kindness with Chelsey and Tony and Command Canine, who created Keeper and Kin. And of course, Chelsey's expertise in working with former research dogs, dogs with PTSD, was just undeniable. And if you ever get a chance to see Chelsey work with the dogs, it's magical. These are just my people, you guys. I'm gonna try not to cry. Between the two of us, we are able to support the dogs and the fosters at such a deeper level. You know, these dogs go into homes, and these fosters, these dogs are different. They're not like any other rescue. Every other rescue dogs, even dogs who have been abandoned, they've been in a home. They've been in some sort of domestic situation. These dogs have never experienced that. And the fosters that we deal with, they take the dog sight unseen. And we're on our way to London, Ontario, and nobody knows who they're getting. And as Chelsey will know, I pride myself as a little bit of a Beagle matchmaker, and I think Tony's going to start an app for me. But together, we have, Katie and I were talking about it last night. I bet you, I say 95% of our fosters end up adopting. We do foster first because they do take a dog sight unseen. And also I'm a bit of a helicopter Beagle mom. And so I need to brainwash them a little bit with what Chelsey and I have to say before they adopt. I need to know this is the right home. And so I think it's probably over 98%. The only reason why our fosters don't adopt is because they want to remain fosters to help us, or they have a family circumstance. They never don't adopt because of their dogs, and that has, a lot of that is because of our partnership with Chelsey. So this year, surprisingly, we were able to place 4 dogs from a Canadian facility into homes. And it was, I mean, I don't know if bittersweet's the right word, but it was different because we want a seat at the table with the laboratories, like John does. That's our goal. The laboratories aren't calling us yet. This was from a confidential informant. But I know absolutely that the reason that these confidential informants called us is because of our work with Kindness Ranch. Because we've been able to lay a foundation to prove that these dogs can go from lab to love, from lab to labs. So this year we welcomed Erica and Janet, Suzuki and Leonard into the free world. And you know, John Raymer, man, He doesn't necessarily call himself an advocate. I think he stays away from that word. But because of the trust that John and Katie and the team and the board of Kindness Ranch has placed in us, it is so important for me to tell you guys that Kindness Ranch is not just making a difference in your country. He has changed a nation. He has changed animal testing in Canada. It's just so important for me to tell you guys that, because I know for a fact he didn't try to do that. So, again, a little bit of kindness goes a long way. And I think if we employ unity instead of divisiveness, which we all see nowadays more than ever, if we employ collaboration instead of competition, and we find the common ground instead of judging, then we are going to move mountains and open doors. And this is a special note I have for the board of Kindness Ranch. In case you questioned our commitment, this doesn't happen in Manitoba. Brenda and I are here. We're not going anywhere. And we didn't even know that there was a town near Kindness Ranch for 3 years. And we figured that out last month. And this is a sign we saw. And so even this is not deterring us, just so y'all know, okay? We have 40 below. We do not have rattlesnakes. Kindness is not just an act. It's a biblical principle, right? It's a fruit of the Spirit.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. And John and Katie and the team and the board of Kindness Ranch put the kindness in Kindness Ranch, as you all know. The team sacrifices sometimes relationships, and we bloody know that they sacrifice good internet and good cell service. And I am so very blessed to call John and Katie my partners, and more importantly, my very good friends, and in so many cases, my mentors. I've called them a lot of times in the morning. So today, when we celebrate Kindness Ranch, the dedication and the love that John and Katie and the team and the board have for the animals, let's just take a moment to realize how much they've done and what they're still doing, and that it crosses all borders. I love you guys. You are my people. Here is to so many years together. And also drinking some wine.